Hey guys, Garvey here. Today, I'm discussing a pretty contentious topic. That being, does art get better over time? There are people on both sides of the debate. Some saying that the advancement of technology, as well as being able to build off of and be inspired by what artists in the past did, lead to greater works today. While others feel that perhaps this very infatuation with technology has led artists astray from the core of art, such as Orson Welles claims in his film F for Fake.
A celebration to God's glory and to the dignity of man. Well, all that's left, most artists seem to feel these days, is man. Naked. Poor, forked radish.
Now, I'd imagine most people would disagree with both of these, with the idea that good art is created by those rare individuals with a grand voice, a shout that echoes past their life and becomes ingrained in our culture, regardless of the time the art was created. Now, before I jump in, it should be stated that art is clearly subjective, so it's difficult to answer this in a purely objective manner. First, we need to break down the question. What does it mean for art to get better? Does it mean to become more entertaining? Does it mean to more accurately stand as a monument for the people's feelings of the times? Does it mean to more prominently shift the zeitgeist of an epoch? Is it the craftsmanship of the work? Does it mean to have a greater impact on the audience? Is it the timelessness of the work? There's a million ways to quantify art. I think your answer to this question will affect your answer to the ultimate question. For me, I think it's pretty simple. The more a work of art can move the audience, whether in a conscious matter or a subconscious one, the greater the work is. Let's jump into the first viewpoint. Has art gone better? Well, for me, that's a pretty definite no. I find it almost impossible to look at the works of the Renaissance, to look at the cathedrals and the Pieta, and all the genius work that sprouted from that era, and think that the work of today is objectively better. Has technology allowed us to create a greater statue than the Pieta? No. We may be able to make it far faster and cheaper, but certainly not better. Well, don't we build off of the work of past artists? That brings us to the next viewpoint. Has art gone worse? There's a little game I like to play. Well, I'll pick an artist of today and see who they were inspired by, and then I'll go back even further to see who inspired the inspirer. Here's an example. It's a fair guess that a lot of filmmakers today were heavily inspired by Scorsese. Scorsese was heavily inspired by Kurosawa, and Kurosawa was heavily inspired by Dostoevsky, and Dostoevsky was heavily inspired by Cervantes. This chain of inspirers goes on and on and on and on and on, and every time it ends the same way. When you get to the initial inspirer, you realize that the last person in the chain gets their inspiration from a source that's infinitely more powerful and moving than any work of art. That being life. Whether they were inspired from life over art due to them being the first of their kind, or from a lack of formal education to teach them about past works, either way, it doesn't really matter. Now, I'm not saying it's bad to be inspired by other artists, but it's extremely dangerous and detrimental to the works of the times to do such in spite of inspiration of life. There are so many young artists today saying things like, I want to be the next Tarantino, or the next Kubrick, or the next Coppola, or whatever. Instead of saying, I want to show what I feel and what I see. I think we live in a very interesting time where many people spend more time in simulated worlds over the real one. If you just think about how much time a person spends reading, watching a show, playing a video game, going on social media, and compare that to how much time is spent developing relationships with people face to face, or exploring their surroundings or even themselves, you see that more and more every day it seems people are leaning more into the simulated world. Especially teenagers, which is the time most artists get their initial inspiration to start their craft. Now, I don't know if this is a bad thing overall. It lets people learn things far faster, it lets people get different perspectives, and it can help cure the tedium of being for a lot of people, so they don't end up going crazy. But I feel something is lost in the process. I don't know if it's some amount of individuality, or maybe some part of their soul, or maybe it is how Orson Welles stated it. All that's left is man. Does this excessive simulation lead to a colder culture, colder people, and colder artists? It's difficult, if not impossible, to say for certain. Now, it should be stated that this doesn't mean good art is impossible to be made now. All it takes is one rare person with a loud shout and a good voice to step past the current era and shift the zeitgeist. There's been plenty of good works made in the last 10 years. But you'd think with more people trying to make art now more than ever, you think that would lead to more good art. But that doesn't seem like it's the case. So to answer the question in as simple of a way as possible, I think art has not gotten better. And I think because of how simulated the world is now, many artists fall into the trap of gathering all of their inspiration from other artists instead of their own lives. But if an artist is able to avoid this pitfall, then they are more than capable of producing genius works. That's pretty much all I want to say about that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. Also, leave a comment about what you guys think about this discussion. Click subscribe for more videos like this every Monday. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.